Hey everyone, what's up? Jen here, back with another episode of What's on the Burger, a Bob Burgers podcast. So we had to change the name just so we didn't step on any toes from Burger of the Week. So that is why it is now What's on the Burger. So I already had pre-recorded the other one, and so I didn't get a chance to change that one before. We changed the icon and everything, but that's what it is. So this is Bob Burger, What's on the Burger, episode 2, season 1, Crawl Space. So this one starts out, the family is at the dinner table, or the breakfast table, having breakfast and everything, and Linda is cleaning around them, and Linda kind of drops the big bomb on the family for this one, which is her parents are coming over for a visit, and we'll have to figure it out from there. So we have a lot of stuff that starts happening, and they're trying to figure out what's going to go on. We find out that Tina has night terrors of zombies making out, and we have where Lynn is talking to Bob and everything. We find out that basically, Bob hates Linda's parents. So we have Grandma Gloria, and we have Grandpa Al. So, Bob goes up to try and fix part of the leaks and stuff that Linda wants, because just their house has a leaky roof and everything. He goes up, and he basically finds the name of this episode, Crawl Space. Yes, he finds a little crawl space that he finds out he can climb down into the walls of their house, and basically make his way around into different areas, and finds out that he can crawl down into the walls of the restaurant and all this other stuff. So I don't know why there's such room in this place like that, because it's probably a good couple of feet. Usually what you would see in horror movies or whatever. I'm pretty sure there is a movie called Crawl Space, so... but he goes in there because he just doesn't want to have to deal with Grandma Gloria and Grandpa Al and everything. So we get a lot of joking puns that he says before, here and there with the kids about the parents and everything. And that's kind of his plan, is that there's a joke about stuff with Linda. Hey, well, don't get stuck in there, or anything. And that's where the plan comes in. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get stuck in here and not have to worry about it and all that other stuff. So he's trying to operate and everything. He knows everybody can do stuff, and he's having to figure out ways to do all this. I think my favorite thing that he has, in this, is he's got the pecan. He'll sit there and he'll be like, hey, walking by one of the kids, hey, can you go dump this in the toilet for me and bring it back? We'll be able to keep up a good system. Everybody's like, oh no, we definitely don't want that. So we also have the burger of the day in this, which is the Foot Fetish burger. Obviously it's got feta on it. We have where Linda calls Teddy, which I believe this is the first appearance of Teddy. I feel like Teddy gets a lot better as we go on. With this episode, Teddy seems a little weird. So I don't know. I think it's just how it is for him to kind of set into his roots as the character. He just seems a lot weirder in this episode than part of the past or the future episodes, since we're only on episode 2. But Teddy is a recurring character we get to see a lot of. So Teddy is actually one of my favorite characters because most of the time he'll give you some kind of random fact or something like that. It's just always funny to me with Teddy. So Teddy and Mort, I think, are probably two of the favorite side characters that I have. So they end up telling Bob that he's going to get stuck in there, or he's going to be stuck there in the night. He actually tells Teddy to leave him in there because he wants Linda's parents to be gone by the time he gets out of there. And come to find out, that's when he really gets stuck. So he actually takes a phone and he documents his time in the wall. And they give him a nightlight little glow thingy, which I always mess up on this name, I feel like, but it's called the Kuchikopi nightlight, I believe it is. It's kind of like this weird green alien thingy that is Louise's, and so she gave it to him to be able to see, to move around and everything. Then we get this kind of weird part in this where we have the sleeping arrangements and everything. We have Glenn and Louise sleeping in the same room together, and then Tina, because of her night terror, sleeping in a different one. And as we have all this stuff happen, we end up having basically Gloria and Al end up having sex at their house, which is weird. That's always a question that I find hilarious. If you find out when people go, oh, well, what's your most embarrassing like sex story or whatever? And it's like, oh, I went to my grandparents' house and I heard them. So, episode 2 is what we get that part in for this. So, and as you would imagine, with the night terrors, Tina obviously imagines zombies making out in her dreams like she usually does, but they sound like her grandparents. So, I feel like that's a night terror in itself. Definitely a nightmare. So, gosh. Anyway, let's take a break right there for a second, okay? All right, and we are back with What's on the Burger, a Bob's Burger podcast, here on the Otakuology podcast page. We're on Season 1, Episode 2, Crawl Space. And we left off with Bob getting stuck in this crawl space and trying to figure out what he's going to do to get out. He told the rest of the family, basically, you guys can run everything. I'm just basically stuck in the wall. And has told Teddy that he wants to be stuck there until after Lynn's parents leave. And obviously, Linda's parents are going to stay to help because Bob is stuck in a wall. He basically waved Teddy off for it as well. And we are at the point where Grandma and Grandpa have now had their voices added into Tina's night terror dream of make out zombies. So, yeah. Kind of feel like this reminds me of the whole thing with Steve Harvey, wherever it's the thing of, would you... Or what's the one thing a burglar wouldn't want to walk into in somebody's house? The guy hits the buzzer and it goes, naked grandma. Feel like this is one of those parts for this, because we find out that Linda's parents still have a pretty good sex life, because obviously that's how their voices got into Tina's head. So, But Linda is talking to Bob. He kind of starts to hallucinate about part of it. And Teddy kind of accidentally drops the bomb a little bit here as well. So Linda finds out that Bob is faking it, and she's trying to punish him. So she is like, we'll leave him in the wall one more day. Because obviously he needs to learn that he can't sit there and joke about all that stuff. Just because her parents are in town. He is trying to figure stuff out. He finds out basically that basically Linda told Teddy not to come get him out in the other day. So now Bob is really getting set up for his hallucinations in the wall and kind of recording his time with Kuchikopi, the nightlight of Louise, and just trying to figure out exactly what he's going to do. At some point, I think he rips up part of like the insulation or whatever and actually uses it as a bed, and some other stuff. It's a little weird, and there's so much room that it's really questionable. It really reminds me of like parts in like American Horror Story Hotel or some other movies where it's like that, where the crawl space is usually how the person is getting around. Because the area in between the wall and that is so huge. So it makes it a little weird in this. But Bob is hallucinating everything. We find out that Linda's mom is making up the New Day's burger of the week, or burger of the day. And she calls it the Toonami, which is a burger that is basically tuna. And I think that is where Bob's nightmares kind of start, because he's like, it's tuna. Tuna is not a burger, and tuna will basically affect his grill. That's his mindset for it. So we also get this whole thing where he starts really hallucinating. I can't remember if there's a part where we actually hear him, and I don't think he does. I think he forgets it. I think he accidentally tries to drink out of his pecan, maybe? I can't remember. But we do also get another funny scene in part of this where Louise brings a bunch of her classmates, and he actually plays a ghost. Bob does, acting like he's dead and everything else. And that gets the counselor to come and investigate. Mr. Fraun. Mr. Fraun is one of those characters. If you've never watched Bob's Burgers before, Mr. Fraun seems like he tries to overstep and do too much. And it's really, really weird sometimes. So we do have this whole part where Bob is hallucinating. He's in like a really nice bar and everything, and he's talking to Kuchikopi. Kuchikopi is like his bartender, and they're talking about basically some of the stuff of what the problem is and how he's going to figure out how to get out of there, everything else. So we just get kind of this really weird thing with that. And all three of them get kind of sort of connected into stuff. Jean, Tina, and Louise, because they kind of bring up all the stuff about their dad being caught in a wall to some extent. And we have basically them going home early, and Mr. Fraun basically is going to talk to their parents and everything. And we kind of have this whole weird scene here where Bob doesn't like Grandma Gloria, but Grandma Gloria actually comes in and saves the day. She ends up like busting through the wall and everything to pull Bob out. I forgot what it was that they said. I think Grandma Gloria used to do something, and so she like knew her way around, kind of, sort of. But she busts through the wall, pulled Bob out, and she gets him, pulls him out, and then basically turns around because Mr. Frann is scaring the kids and saying all this stuff. And she like scares the living daylights out of him. I forgot the exact thing, but she's like, well, aren't you a counselor? Like, why are you here and you're here like after hours? Isn't that like an infringement of such and such and da-da-da? So scares him off of whatever he was going to try and do to them. Again, this is one of the first times we get to see this, and especially Grandma Gloria in action. And this really, I guess, impresses Bob to love Grandma Gloria and Grandpa Al. So I really question how many times we've seen them before. Bob made it seem like they come like every 6 months or so. And maybe it was longer, because the last thing I really remember them kind of bringing up is they had like marriage pictures, but that'd be too old for all the kids to know that. So I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, like I said, Bob and Grandma Gloria are all good after all this. Whatever it was, either her saving him or figuring part of the stuff out, there's a lot of good stuff that came out of it. The only bad thing I feel like that came out of this is Bob's attachment to the Coochie Cookie nightlight. Louise went back and Bob's like, no, I need him still. It's like his red vested dog or whatever, his support dog. So he tries to do that. But I believe this episode overall was really good. I enjoyed it, especially because of the family togetherness that we kind of get to see develop on screen ish with Grandma Gloria and Bob, and kind of getting over that whole fear and everything that he had. Because obviously, like, if he was going to go to the extent of hiding in a crawl space to get away from them, it was a little bit extreme. But, I mean, don't a lot of us do things kind of sort of crazy about that with, like, our in-laws to an extent? I know that I've heard some weird stories from some friends, and things like that. Maybe we'll have to see if Mike has any weird in-law stories for one of the next main podcast episodes or something like that, and just kind of bring up the fact of how it is. Not everybody likes their in-laws, and not everybody has to deal with them very much. So in this one, we got to see that. We got to see kind of the funness of it, as well as I guess it takes, like, if we looked at it through how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop or whatever, I guess it takes about 3 days in a crawl space, hole in the wall or whatever, to go crazy. So email us at the podcast. Let us know if there are any crazy crawl space stories that you have. Any weird stories about in-laws, we might read it on the podcast. And anything else. I mean, are you a fan of Bob's Burgers? What do you think about it? What's your favorite episode? Anyway, I will catch y'all later. Thanks for listening. I'm Jen, as always. And we will see you next Tuesday. Stay tuned for another episode next Thursday of What's on the Burger, Bob's Burger Podcast. for season 1. Bye.